Now in today's video, we're taking a look at the ComMarker B6 fiber laser engraver. And fiber lasers give you the ability to create and engrave things like this. We're talking about small business opportunities, side hustles that allow you to create koozies that look like this, personalized. And this just takes seconds to create. It's a great opportunity for those that are looking to expand your business, or for those of you who are looking to start a business. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, this fiber laser is compact and it's powerful. It really doesn't sacrifice on what you could do with it and how much creativity you can have. It does feature autofocus tech, which means that you won't have to worry about the actual adjustment. You can actually push a button and it's going to autofocus for you. You also have manual focus as well. And the accuracy of this laser is pretty stupendous. We're talking about 0.01 millimeter with a speed of 10,000 millimeters per second. Now, when you're laser engraving, there's a lot of different things that you have to consider when it comes to getting the right mark. It's power, it's speed, but it's also frequency and pulse. So you're looking at a frequency range from 30 to 60 kilohertz, and you're also looking at a pulse range from 120 to 150. Now, you're going to be able to use Lightburn or EasyCAD. I prefer Lightburn. And you're going to be able to engrave on leather. You're going to be able to do plastic. You could do slates. You could do also, you'll see various types of metals and get some really nice markings. And the good thing about this laser is that it has a stupendous service life, meaning the life of the laser, 100,000 hours. Let me show you some samples and we'll go take a look at the laser. Now, engraving is really easy, especially as you become proficient with Lightburn. It is simple to engrave. And I want to show you a couple samples of what I did here. And this is what we're talking about. You have here, this is a leather koozie. I have jigs. I really prefer using jigs, and I'll have these jigs created as I need them for the work that I'm doing, because it just accelerates the way I can create products. And then as a business person, I want to make sure that the marks are all consistent. They're always in the same place, especially if you're doing more than one, right? No one can tell if it's off, it's one. But if you have 10 of them and all of them are all over the place, then that's when you start running into problems. So that's why I use these jigs. Now, here you have a leather koozie. This koozie is basically has a two-tone material, right? So basically it's black on the top, and it has a thin layer of silver, and you can see how it pops out. And then what you get is this really, really nice feature or finish. You could do an engraving on both sides. I also have these leather key fobs, and you can notice here I had a dog mom kind of message on this, and you could put anything that you want, and you could improve your centering. So this one I'm a little bit off, that one's more spot on, that one is also more spot on. But as I was playing and testing, and again, these are permanent engravings. You could also do this. So this is basically a bottle opener, right? And it is a credit card form bottle opener. And what you can do is you can engrave this. It's permanent. You could put your brand. You could put a company's brand. And this is something that you can also sell. Now, this is super popular, dog tags. And look at how beautiful these dog tags came out. And it takes seconds. Literally, it's just go bzzz, and it's engraving these. So imagine how many dog tags you'd be able to do for shelters, for pet stores, for friends and family, or you could also start a business creating dog tags. And you can see what a clean and high definition mark. So this is what we're talking about. And it's not limited to this, but you could do slate coasters, you could do rocks. There's a lot of other materials that you'd be able to engrave with the fiber. And it just opens up a whole world of creativity and also business opportunities. So let's take a closer look at the fiber. And then we'll see some of the features that it has. I'll give you kind of like a walkthrough of the fiber itself. But this is what I'm talking about. This type of output coming from a small device like this. Now, this laser is so compact that I said, you know what, let me go ahead and bring it in from our workshop and just put it in the kitchen so you can see how versatile it is. You'll notice one thing is that I have the laser here on its side, where this unit has two workable positions. One, you can have this on top and actually have it bolted down so it looks like it's one unit, or you can have it separate just like I have right here. Now, this is going to be great if you have limited workspace and you'd want to have the unit itself that's creating all the power somewhere else, maybe on the side. The actual cable itself is pretty long. You can see how long that cable is. So you could actually have this in a different shelf and then just have the laser where you're doing your engraving in another one. But what you could do is, with some screws that you have here, you can actually connect it just like this and make it a permanently mounted laser just as you see right here. This is also an option for you if you'd like to go this route. Now, there's a couple of buttons that are going to be important for you to be aware of. First of all, and the most important one is the emergency stop. So at any point you'd want to stop the laser, all you do is push this button and it's going to stop. To enable it, you pop it out. This is your power button. This is going to be up and you're down. There's no manual crank with this laser. Everything is power based, which I really like. And that's why it's also autofocus. So if I were to power this up, you can see how the lights turn on, and you can see that even one of the laser dot markers has shown up here. We're going to see this side in a couple seconds, but you'll see how this is just lit up, and it has kind of like a little breathing effect here, which is pretty cool, right? So up, down, and you can also control this on the laser itself. Now, for those of you who are interested in accessories like cup engraving, rotary engraving, you could even have this unit do batch engraving. Simply by using Lightburn, you can actually have a series of pens, for example, that you want to engrave, and the rotary is going to rotate and allow you to engrave them all in sequence. Even if you'd like to number them, you could do that, or you could just have them have the same engraving. What you see right here are all your connection options that allow you to expand. So you'll notice here you have the first one right here, which is going to be your rotary. Over here, what you have is your pedal. And then what you also have here is an enclosure option. They do have an enclosure option that you can connect to it, and then it's going to provide you additional capability. So a lot of flexibility that you see going on here. You have your USB cable. This is the cable that's going to go to your computer. And then you have this USB-C cable that goes from the actual unit here to the actual fiber to power it up. And it also interacts with it so that if you want to raise or lower the actual laser itself, that also provides that facility or that ability to do so. Here's your power cord, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, at the top of the laser, you have a manual crank that you can use to adjust your laser, but this is a power-based laser. So you'll notice up here, you have the ability to press that up and down arrow to change your focus. Now, you're going to see that little message there. Well, the laser, when you receive it, basically comes in its guide telling you what's the highest focal point. Mine is set at 254, so they basically test the laser out, and based on the lens and the laser itself, they'll tell you this is the optimal point for focus when you're going to do some engraving. It comes with a sheet of paper giving you all these details. Now, as I lower this down, if I were to lower this down and it gets to its focal point, you'll notice that it kind of disappears because it's saying, hey, I can work through this area. Now, what's happening is this little dot that you see here is the dot that is actually determining what the focal point is. And you could either use the included ruler, it does come with a metal ruler that you can use, or you can use the system to do so. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change one more thing. Now, we do a lot of laser engraving, and we do lots of batch work where someone is ordering 150 or 100. So I like using a jig system to be able to ensure that every single thing I engrave, if I engrave more than one, that everything is aligned the same way and everything is positioned the same way. So one of the things I just did is I positioned this cooler holder, and you notice that I have the little laser dot here. Now the laser does include a ruler. This is a metal ruler, and it's really common with laser engravers. And basically mine is basically calibrated to 254, so that would be the point right here. So I basically put the unit and then align it with the item that I'm going to engrave at this height. But we have autofocus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise it up just to illustrate what's going on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the autofocus button. And when I hit the autofocus button, it's going to go down and it's going to hit that 254, right, automatically. And basically that's 254 from that specific dot, and that's going to give me the best engraving. Now, when you're engraving items, there are times where that engraving may want to be defocused. It may want to be defocused down or defocused up, especially when you're working with metal, stainless steel, where you want to get a darker mark, but you don't want to engrave deeply into the metal. You may defocus in one of those two areas, but that's going to be all what you're testing in your experimentation. Remember, this is all about light burn. So a lot of, again, cool features or flexibility that you have. Now, there's one other thing I want to highlight that makes this also unique. Now, there are going to be times that you may be asked to engrave something that is taller than what this focal length is going to allow you to engrave on. And what I like is that it comes with a riser. So you see this riser right here? So this riser, you can put it right here and then increase the height of your laser and then focus down. Now, you may ask yourself, like, what can I get that's going to require me to have this height? Because this is going to be enough for koozies, for coasters, for key rings like the ones I showed you, key chains, dog tags, slates, right? It's going to do a lot of things. But guess what I received? I actually received a request to engrave a bowling ball. And if I were to put a bowling ball here, the focal distance is not going to be enough. So by having this area here mounting the laser on top of this, I now have more space to engrave something that may have a higher height. So this is something that I haven't seen with many lasers, but this is super cool because it expands how much work area you have. And again, all this area right here, depending on, again, where you have your item, you always want to make sure that you can focal or do your focus on the product you're going to engrave, and then you can place it within the work area. But what I try to do is keep things in this area. This is kind of like my work spot. And as you can see here, you do have these screws that you can tie down to the base if you want to have it mounted or have it separate like I did. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.